today we're going to look at AI, but in a real practical, personal augmentation focus. That's our lens today. And to be fair to Eric, we did this already, but the day we did it was Storm Eowyn, and that ruined the prospects for many people trying to join, or they joined and then left us 5 minutes later because they couldn't keep connection. So it's a little bit of a reprise, but it's a slight tweak, and we entirely expect to come back to the topic of AI again. So we're not trying to nail it and never see it again from today. We thought we might touch on it. We think it's most relevant to innovation. And praise the Lord, Monsieur Eric Paquin has decided that he's willing to do this for us. He has graced us with his presence, and he's going to lead us on a little exploration of how do you make this happen? How does AI and innovation fit together? Over to you, Eric.
Thank you, Owen. I guess you can see my screen now.
Yes.
So yeah, like Owen said, this is kind of part 2, or like the hands-on version of the presentation I gave a couple of weeks back. I've never done that before, so it could go horribly wrong or it could go very well, but either way, it should be insightful. So I've prepared a little journey through different tools, but I'm really taking it from this first prompt and not going and then going along with people's input and AI input. So first prompt I've put in is, you're an innovation manager. Well, hopefully we're all in the innovation space, and you're preparing a workshop on AI for new product development, where you'll bring the audience from an idea to a prototype in an hour. To get the conversation started, come up with 5 wicked problems in Ireland that we could focus on. So here's my 5 wicked problems. First one, it sounds like a brilliant workshop, so thank you very much. And then from there, the 5 areas, there's the housing affordability and supply, access to mental health services, sustainable agriculture and food waste, digital inclusion and elderly isolation, and transportation in rural Ireland. And I will go with the first, actually, I don't see the chat now, let me bring it up. But the first thing that's come up in the chat will be the topic that we'll pick for the rest of the activity. So get typing.
Eric, you want everybody to pick one? Is that the general gist?
No, I'm gonna pick the first one. So whoever is typing the quickest.
3. Item number 3.
4.
Well, I can only see 3 fingers, Martin. There we go.
Well, I see 5 fingers because the thumb is facing us. Okay, well, Martin was the first one that was pointing up, so I'll go with 4, digital inclusion and elderly isolation. So let's take it to the next stage. Sorry now, just a bit of cut and paste going. So we said 4, digital inclusion. So, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna copy this here. So you need to, okay. Say we have picked number 4. Next, you need to brainstorm the following. So I said, how might we explore voice-based AI component, accessible services, navigation tools, or intentional digital literature? Come up with 5 product ideas that we could explore further. And I'm going to copy that as well because I want to.
While you're doing that, Eric, Martin has asked a follow-up question about, is this the paid GPT-4 version?
It is, yes, because I do pay a license for that. And that's why I gotta stick mostly with ChatGPT, because I have a paid license, and it gives you kind of a lot more detail feedback. So it's, while it's coming up for 5 product ideas, you could have said 10, I just said 5 to keep it concise for the workshop. I've asked the same question to Perplexity earlier as well, which is another tool that I've been using, where I have the pro version as well, thanks to Revolut. Different a little bit UI, but I kind of came up with 5 ideas as well, from the housing crisis, cost of living, climate change. Kind of seems to have gone a lot bigger, broader, kind of wicked problems there. What I like about Perplexity is, like, it tells you where, a bit like Microsoft Copilot. It gives you sources of why it's picked those and what it looked at. So it looked at a few sources, so you can go and check all the sources and to support what you've come up with. So that's Perplexity. But I will go back to see my 5 ideas. And again, I will have to watch the screen now. But so the 5 ideas: voice-activated digital companion, AI-powered service navigator for seniors, virtual digital literacy coach, companion chatbot for mental wellness, or multi-generational learning platform. So there are the 5 product ideas that it came up with. So again, I will look and see who picks then the first number there. Which product are we going with? 1, voice-activated companion. 2, AI-powered service navigator for seniors. Virtual digital literacy coach. Companion chatbot for mental wellness. Or multi-generational learning platform.
2.
Okay, that's the first thing I heard. Excellent. 2 was AI. Okay, perfect. So which was okay. So number 2, AI-powered service navigator for seniors. There. So you are going with number 2. So create a brief, just so we know what we're talking about and we all agree, so we'll get it. Create a brief product overview. Okay, even give it a name. I won't even have time to pronounce it. So product name. Oh, there you go. Irish for fairy, friendly guiding presence. So that's a nice. I don't know how true that is because I don't know any Irish, but we'll take it that it's smart enough to know. Many older adults in Ireland struggle to access essential public and private services due to complex digital interfaces, unfamiliar jargon, and cognitive or physical impairments. As more services move online, this creates a significant barrier to independence while being an inclusion. Voice first AI-powered service navigator designed to help older adults find, understand, and access local services with ease, from healthcare appointments and transport options to community activities and public entitlements. There's the core features: conversational AI, localized service discovery, simplified task assistance, context awareness, multilingual and accessible design, target users, impact goal, so reduce digital exclusion and isolation. So that already kind of have a fairly good idea of what the product kind of shapes to be. So now that we've all agreed that it's a great idea to do that product, we need a little bit more kind of detail. So let's create a project plan and a product roadmap. So it's this product vision. So there's my development plan. I haven't asked for the budget, but I've seen it doing budgets kind of back of the envelope type budget. But so discovery, so key activities, stakeholder interviews, user research and personal creation, competitive analysis, brainstorm, so ideation, prototyping. So there are the phases like MVP design and build, pilot and feedback, launch and preparation. So in 24 weeks, we should be launched and ready to go with our app. Sorry, Martin, do you have your hand up? If you want to.
Yeah, sometimes it's useful to ask, because sometimes it can be a bit too positive. ChatGPT, all the AIs can be sometimes very positive about life. Sometimes I like to ask, what are the risks? What are the dangers? What's the criticism? Can you criticize this for me? You know, where could I go wrong with this? That type of thing, because all the AI seem to be very like, hey, everything's great, but we all know it's not. So it's sometimes nice to ask those questions.
Well, the world is wonderful. Yeah, I will get that because I get to opportunities and threat and kind of see what could go wrong. But at the end, we can go through that exercise as well and try to get AI to pick hole in the whole end product. So I have my kind of phase and timeline, product roadmap, the MVP launch, Q3 2025, learning and expansion. So again, fairly good details there to kind of keep starting building a product, but let's see if we can do that quicker. So I want to understand the feel a little bit better. So what are the major trends in what did we pick again? Sorry, now I should have put a note down. I will just put that in. So what are the major trends in, or we might try, what are the major customer behaviors? So let's go and see what are the trends and customer behavior. So we'll look at macro trends and customer behavior. Voice as primary interface, hyperlocal and contextual. So I'm gonna copy that. And I'm gonna go to Perplexity and start a new thread. Just see if there's a major difference. But the only thing is you have to wait sometimes a little bit for the thing to load, and especially when your computer is slow. There we go. So major trends: voice as primary interface, hyperlocal and contextual AI, social tech with empathy built in, privacy first, trust-centric design, intergenerational tech design, because when family or caregivers are involved. Customer behavior, reluctant but curious adopters, trust is everything, routines over novelty, heavy influence from caregivers and community group, feedback is rich and honest. And again, I'm not gonna go and read everything that it throws on screen, but I want to show how quickly we'll get to the end, which is nice in ChatGPT is when you keep everything in the same chat, is that it learns from the answer that's given. So it always builds on top of the information that's been loaded, which will allow me to go and ask my next question. Let's see. Create 4 personas presenting typical user of the system alongside a picture representing them. And I haven't tried the new picture engine from ChatGPT now, but I've seen results online that it looks a lot better than it used to. I used to switch to Midjourney at this stage and use Midjourney to create images, but I'm curious to see what they'll come up with. And meanwhile, let's see what the major trends. So we have hyper-personalized health monitoring, predictive fall prevention, voice-activated assistant, telehealth integration, social engagement too. So slightly different. Again, combining both sources might be interesting. What's again interesting in Perplexity is that you can go and have a look at the research it's surfaced as part of that. But let's go back still. A bit slow on creating images, but let's see. May take a moment. Oh, here we go. We have Michael O'Brien and Nora Kelly. So here's my personas being built just live as we watch. So far, so good. Lives alone. Lives alone with access. Tech content moderate. Tech comfort. I say not context. Limited needs. And then kind of a little, once it's finished, I'll zoom in so we can see better. But I have now 4 persona cards. And let's see if I can just look at it a bit bigger so we can all see. There we go. So Michael O'Brien, so need assistance navigating healthcare services and reminders for medication appointments. I just need something that that'll help me finding things without any hassles. Needs companionship and social interaction, access to community events. It would be grand to have a bit of chat now and again. Again, and that's what's interesting now that I've noticed that is that's an image. And in the past, I say a month ago, images, text on images was very garbled and not like really making sense. We've moved from having now you can see still making some mistake. It's caregiver instead of caregiver, but unless I need my glasses. No, it says scarce. But yeah, so while it's not perfect, it's still kind of getting a lot closer to what we were looking for. But enough of personas now. I will close that. Whoops, go back in. Yeah. It's too slow. Okay, so we've done the personas. So now I'm gonna try. So we kind of have an idea of the project, who's going to use it, and so I'm going to see what's the main competition there. So I will do that. And if I find main competitors and perform a SWOT analysis, make sure to add links to their products. I'm adding that just to make sure that they are actually real products, and we can go and validate that it's not hallucinating an AI-powered service product. So that might take a little while to load. And then after that, I will try something that I have never done before because I'm dying to try it. So Martin, there's comments, a few comments online we can switch to while that's thinking. Like using the numbers as quicker to refer to what you. Oh, sorry. Okay. That was it before. It would be great to see how ChatGPT can output all this as a HTML page, maybe to capture all the good stuff it's spitting out. You can export, I think, the data, but you could at the end, I'll ask it to make a web page report and see how that goes. So what do we have? We have LEQ by Intuition Robotics. There's the SWOT analysis, Buddy by Blue Frog, and there's the link. GrandPad. Oh, I like that name. GrandPad.net. Amazon Alexa with Echo device, so which could be in. And again, it gives me an idea of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. Google Assistant with Nest devices. So there were kind of an idea. Now to do something that I haven't done, I want to try a new tool that I actually never put a prompt in it, so it could go wrong. But let's ask ChatGPT what's the best prompt to use. So for some analysis in Manus. Okay. Okay, so let's see. I copied that and I'll go to Manus, which is a new AI that kind of plans task-based planning. So I will do so. What perform data SWOT analysis of instead of a company. So what I'll do, sorry now. By companies that make AI powered service navigator for adults. Analysis of each on their position as a specific feature, competitors, market opportunity, risk, and user behaviors. Trends. Okay, so that sounds okay. Present findings in a table format if possible. Okay, so that'll take 11 minutes. So let's. It's a free version, so it's probably why it's taking a while, but it's going to go and do loads of different tasks. And so we'll come back to it when later on at the end. So I've done that. Now that we have an idea, we have a market plan, a development plan, product roadmap, and everything. Let's see if people are interested. So we're going to create a website really quickly to validate customer demands. So there you go. And again, I'm just asking ChatGPT to create my prompt for another product because it's quicker. So optional add-on, so that actually customization that we'll see that you could actually customize if you had the paid version of Mixo, but I don't have the paid version. So I'll create a new site. I probably have to delete. There you go. So that's the prompt from ChatGPT put into Mixo. We want to, let's say, get contacted. Email. Oh, okay. Test. Test.com. Generate. So now we're moving to. Okay, why is that? Link to site maybe. Collect subscriber. There we go. Generate. That should work. No. Okay, let's see if I can reload that. I said something must have to go wrong today, so let's try again.
It's in the rules, Eric.
It is in the rules, and just because you probably didn't give an offering over breakfast to the demo gods.
Yes.
Now let's see. Collect subscribers, generate. There's something's happening now. There we go. So Mixo is creating a website. Again, that's the free version. If you go with the paid one, it's a lot more customizable. But we have the product name, Access Essential Local Service, which, yes, with that name. Shig, would it be a fair pronunciation? I could ask ChatGPT, but.
Well, if the father's on the O, it's Shog. Come
Shog,
on, Irish
okay.
scholars, tell me I'm wrong.
So let's go with Shog. So Vice Power AI system designed to help alternative in Ireland. So it already kind of have a first action here to join the wait list. A little accessing the service so much easier. So a fake user giving a quote. Voice powered assistance for senior, easy access to services. So again, with just that simple prompt, now I have a website that I can see start gathering interest to see if people would like to join the beta products that we were going to build. A long time. Yeah, we have plenty of time to build a product. So yeah, so there's the website. So that was the next step. I'm gonna.
Eric, I'm going to stop you just for a second. This doesn't mean you should plan to cease, but just because we're sort of halfway through the session, Eric, you're planning to continue this program until what point? Say, where do you think you'd be at the quarter to the hour if we're doing this?
I'd say in about 10 minutes, I will have a product built and a pitch deck.
Okay, so our plan is for Eric to do that for another 10 or so minutes.
Yeah.
If anybody's got an immediate question, do stick your hand up. I know Martin said a few comments through that we can come back to on chat, but 10 minutes unless anybody's impatient. Okay, go for it, Eric.
Right. Okay. So that was there. We have our first website just to see if there's interest. And while we're gathering interest, might as well start producing a mock-up. Again, I'm sticking with ChatGPT because it has all the history of the chat now, so it knows the feature, the roadmap. It knows like what we're trying to build. So that's a lot easier than for it to create the prompts than for other apps because it has the background. And if you notice in the prompt, I didn't for the previous one. I said because they don't have all the information above. So there you go. So for wizard.io, I will go here and see what comes up. New blank project for desktop, let's say, because they like to sit at the desk. And then I'll have to delete one. Sorry about that. Let's delete that one. Delete. There we go. Now let's say generate with Auto Designer. Actually, that's it. We said desktop. So get that. Oops, it asked me something. Sorry, I didn't enter it the right place. Now, generate. And while it's doing that, let's see best prompt for use Galileo, which is another wireframing tool that I've used. Galileo is here. So it's going to think through. And let's see if Wizard has gone any further. We have an interactive prototype, which is still generating design. Okay, still working through. Still working through. So let's move while it's doing that. We'll start building our product because time is short, and we can go and see the result in all of those tools. And so V0 by Versal is a tool that can actually build products with AI. So we enter all of those. So it's asking me to build blah, blah, blah with a hero section, benefit cards, use large font. So let's copy, and it gives me actually bonus prompts there if I want to go any further. So let's go to V0 and select the same here. And I'll show you why I like V0. Now, so V0 is starting to build our product. Let's see if we have any kind of nice branding. Still working on it. Oh, there we go. We have a few screens. Didn't like the feather on the O, but obviously. So we have, what can I do? Still finalizing. What do we have here? There we go. So that's Galileo. So we have a mobile kind of app there. So what it does, meet your personal AI assistant, what's the weather today, so how it works, a little tutorial. And then we could, again, it's the free one. With the paid one, you could get a lot more in details, but it gets you kind of a good start there. And in Wizard, we are a little bit more. So we asked for desktop prototype. So it's still generating. We can see the screens, kind of different features that are starting to be built. And in the meantime, in V0, it's still thinking. Okay, we'll let it think while we are going to move to the Manus is still working. So that was the 11 minutes just doing the SWOT. So it does a lot more. So create a to-do list for research tasks, research details, and then it tells you what it does, like where it goes, what it's looking for, looking at the back end and start building kind of its own data to create that. So it's working a lot harder, I think, than just a generative AI. Right, while all our friends are building the product, as maybe it's time to start kind of thinking of real people. So let's build a survey that we can send to potential users to assess their needs and expectations. It's an excellent move, as ChatGPT reinforced with us. So age group, where do you live? Do you currently support or care for an adult? Access to services. So it's building my survey. Again, if I was to do that for a real product and for myself, I wouldn't just do cut and paste, but it gets you started, a good starting point there to talk to people. And then two more prompt to enter. So I have my survey there. It's nearly done. Yeah, 15. And we'd like to be on the waitlist, so stay in touch is the last question. And now just create a lean canvas for the product, because I like the lean canvas. So there's the problem. So it's gonna, again, it didn't format it in a lean canvas. I could actually copy and paste into the lean canvas. Customer segments, unique value proposition, a friendly voice that helps older adults access services, stay informed, feel supported without needing to learn new technology. Solution, channels, revenue stream, cost structure, and key matrix. So, and then unfair advantage. So it's at all the boxes that if you're familiar with the lean canvas. And then my last one, let's promise that we'd have, is create a 5-slide pitch to get funding to develop the idea. Let's see. And while that's being created, let's go back to, let's see what Manus is still working in the background. Yeah. Wizard. What do we have here? Start removing. So Wizard, can I zoom in nicely? It's still generating, but yeah, it doesn't seem to have stopped there, but here something's happening. Okay. Well, anyway, you see there you can interact with all the elements. There must be a zoom somewhere. Oh, there. Right. So we have latest updates, healthcare, transport, social supports, a few kind of tiles there. And you have a calendar for your appointments. You have here services. I can't see what it's in there, but they all screen that you could have in your product. So you have an accessibility workshop introducing to different healthcare kind of things that you can build, the voice assistant. So kind of few screens that you can start showing to people and see how they react and if there's any things that you should change. So that's I'll start removing that. So that's Wizard. And then V0, where are we at there? I think we must have a product there. So there you go. So I have built a responsive landing page for C. So there's all the elements that it's produced here. Well, we're going to see the preview in a second. What's interesting here is that before Martin asked, you have access to all the background, the back end. It's actually built a product here, what you see. So here's your logo, so that is actually ready to deploy. You have a little video there. Actually, never tried to see what happens here when I click play, but you could have what our users say. So you have a proper kind of web page there, and you have all the code that you could send to GitHub, and you can actually deploy the whole thing and it'd be up and running in minutes. So I haven't written a line of code, and it's all so it's creating me my CSS with all the font and the look and feel. It created the pages, all the information that I need. So all the code is there, and then you have the lovely prototype there that's ready to be deployed. So that's V0. Is Galileo finished? Oh yeah, we did see that. It's Manus we were waiting for. And it's still working. So this one has done kind of quite a bit. So 7 minutes ago, it said it would take, I know it said 13 minutes ago. It should be nearly done. 5 tasks out of 8. So we'll leave it running, and maybe at the end, we'll
so
go
Eric,
see.
are you happy if I put a question to the group now, or is there something you want to finish off with?
No, well, I was just going to finish here with what Martin was asking earlier. Can you create an HTML page with all of the above so we can share it?
Sometimes you feel like you're going down a rabbit hole, and it's nice to sort of capture everything, so
yeah,
you get a better picture.
Oh, there's the pitch page as well. So okay, so there you go. It's giving me the whole HTML code because if you're interested in those things. And oh, where have I gone now? Oh yeah, it's just building the page. And well, you have access to the whole discussion here on the left. So yeah, you can Owen, throw away questions.
I will throw that out to the room in just a minute. Just want to highlight to everybody that we know and love Eric. We've been sharing the same screens and meeting face to face for a while, so we know him. So those of us who've been here on Fridays know where this is coming from. Gabriel, Cormac, others who won't have seen Eric so much might not know. Like, okay, Eric is terribly clever, but he didn't go and do a master's and a degree and a doctorate in AI. He just started playing. So,
Yeah.
Eric, when did you first start playing with AI?
Oh, well, it depends. Define playing now, because I played with machine translation. So define AI, because I did machine learning, kind of not study, but just play with concepts and look at people that were able to kind of do the coding. But machine translation. Then when I was in the DAP Center, it was all machine learning, computer vision, which is all AI really. What you're seeing today, I started in probably May, June, 2 years ago. About 2 years ago, just when ChatGPT came out, I started playing with it. For me, it was an evolution, because I'd seen GPT-1, I'd seen GPT-2. I saw the possibilities you can do with chatbots, build multilingual chatbot. Surprised with when the LLMs came on play, wow, exponentially better it became. I'd seen the progression, so like I said, wasn't the surprise wasn't in what it could do, but how quickly and how it had evolved to that. And then from there as well, then moving to images, to sound, to like, and it's getting better by the day. Like the presentation I gave during Storm Owen, it was already out of date, because the field moved so fast. Manus didn't exist. ChatGPT wasn't as good. The images weren't great. So things are evolving exponentially. But yeah, I mean, I just started playing with it and see how far I could push it, really.
Yeah. So if I compare you and me for a second, you're ahead of me in your AI capability and your interest, but it's by engagement, it's by playing, it's by trying things out. It's, eating your own dog food as an innovator is what we're saying here, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Just dog fooding the product.
So I know Martin has been very engaged on this, and I know he's quite got a good degree of competence on this, but I'm not going to start with Martin. What I'm going to suggest is, if I just go around the room, and actually it's just in the order that the names are on my screen. The first name on my screen is Cormac, and we're not picking up on you, Cormac. It's just you're literally first. A reflection or a comment, and do you have a question for Eric?
You navigated through this very fast, Eric. That you've been. So yeah, there's quite a lot to
digest.
Yeah. So forming a question here. Sorry if I'm avoiding this one, but
it's not a pressure. You give the comment that you're in the mood to give, and we'll move on, Cormac.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in with how fast you navigated through this, and to a certain extent how simple you made this look.
But the thing is, it is simple.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
But you only find out how simple by trying it out.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'm not sure your terminology there, Owen. Was it playing with it or toying around with it?
I use lots of terminology, Cormac. Don't stick with the terminology I use. But yeah, that kind of attitude to it, being playful. So thanks. That's great, Cormac. A reaction is helpful, a reflection, a worry, a thought. But if you've got a question for Eric, that'd be fantastic. Alan, you happen to be next on my screen.
Yep. I've seen a couple of iterations of this, and one thing that would kind of jump out at me, Eric, I know you ran this similar kind of an exercise a couple of weeks back, and I see now that even in that very short space of time, was it a month ago maybe, up at DCU, I saw this.
About that, yeah.
And even in that short space of time, the tools have changed. Like Manus is now in the thing. I got my wait list. My name came off the wait list. I finally got my my access to Manus to have a play around with that. But in the meantime, like, this is going really, really quickly. And I think, the biggest thing for me out of this is hold on to your hats, because I think we're looking at quite a lot of business model disruption. I think we're, going to see, like, my reflections may be unfair because I've seen this before and I've reflected on it, and now I'm reflecting again. So I kind of have pre-chewed my thoughts on this. I think what I'd be interested to see is how many people sitting down for an hour with all of the subscriptions and the models and these things, can create something of actual lasting value. And I think that what you've done demonstrates how easy it is to kind of execute on a vision, but it's how many people, like we could literally, all the 7 people on the call, would we have a $7 billion business each by this afternoon if we all sat down to do this? Or what is it that makes a difference? Because it's not that what you've done is invalid, but it's clearly not about the tools anymore. It's about something else. What is it? Is it distribution? Is it marketing? Is it, what is it? Because the things that you're coming up with, I can't argue this. It all looks very plausible. But I just doubt that if we had 100 people in a room going through almost exactly the same exercise, if you guided people to go through this, for example, there was an online webinar and it took 2 hours instead of an hour, and you're talking everyone through it. You're literally telling them what to do, and they all come up with a prototype and a deck and a whatever. Like, how many of them would actually transition off the platforms onto, a real world solution? It'd be really interesting to see. And I think that's kind of the experiment that's going to be run in the world at scale over the next couple of months, as we see these things going more and more and more and more mainstream. And you see firms going to use them, e-commerce firms trying to use them, fintechs trying to use them. So really, really interested to see whether this is just all going to be sludge, or whether we're going to see really interesting, valuable, sticky things coming out of it that stand the test of time. That would be my overarching thought.
Lovely. Thanks, Alan.
So just before you move to the next one, because then I'll stop sharing and I'll put my face back on screen. But Manus has just reported the final report, which seems to be fairly comprehensive around AI-powered Service Navigator. So the context, accessibility trend, company profiles, then SWOT analysis for each of them, and findings and conclusion. Now, what's interesting is you can go back exactly into each task that it's done. It's looked like a different website and what it's done on each of those websites. So it's more task-based, but it gives you, I think, maybe a little bit more confidence in what comes out, because it's not a hallucination. It's based on a series of tasks, and then it tells you what it did, how it did it, and then gives you the final report, and it's completed. That's why it took a little bit longer. And then I'll stop sharing now and go back to everybody.
Well done, Eric. Now, who did I not pick on yet? Let
No,
me
I
just
can't
see
hear
how
you.
this. Gabriel, what thoughts have you?
Okay.
I guess I skipped the queue. That was really cool to see the different AIs you used. I haven't seen some of those before, and each one will have their specialized purpose. So with ChatGPT, could you drive, obviously you've done this demo or different iterations of it before in the past, but much of that, could you have done of all that in ChatGPT, would have been as good, or do the specialist AIs make a significant difference?
I've tried different tools, because again, I mean, I don't have an unlimited budget, so I pay for ChatGPT and I have Perplexity. So those two will give similar, slightly different, but will bring you kind of towards the same thing. And I can say, like, for images, I used to go to Midjourney. Now it looks like with the paid ChatGPT, you have access to Sona, which is their new video and imaging layer, which produce nearly as good quality as what the videos are amazing. But it's part of the subscription, so maybe I'll cancel my Midjourney one. I'm not going into the copyright discussion, but yeah, it produces quality, good enough quality material. Like for the website development, or like if you go to UX specific tools, you'll get better results. There's different ones. And again, I'd go pick one and stick with it. You won't be buying licenses for all of those. So play with the free versions and then just pick one and then go with that one, because it's likely that it will, if it's behind on some feature, it will catch up fairly quickly.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's really, really cool to see.
Could it?
And I think last year I did a 3-day brainstorming workshop with the IDA, and it was come up with this idea and then create, a plan for the roadmap, use different techniques, design thinking, and then demo it. That took 3 days, and what you did, you produced more in 1 hour. So I think it brings creativity to it. I know it was more fun doing the 3-day workshop, but not as effective. So I think it brings creativity to a different place. I'm not sure if it's better or not, because you've 100 people in a room, you've lots of different ideas coming in, but it definitely brings creativity to a different place. And but it's really cool to see.
And people in the room and people in the room from a same organization will share a similar culture. They might go to other places quicker than ChatGPT would because they're aware of the space but if you combine both, how far could you go with 25 people in a room plus ChatGPT on the screen?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Now, there's a question from Alan, but Paul hasn't spoken yet. So, Alan, is this a quick one?
No, just real quick observation. Just what you were saying, Eric, about the different tools and the Midjourney and cancel the subscription for this and that. Just one thing that I noticed, I use I happen to subscribe to a thing called Envato, which is a kind of a marketplace. So, they have stock photography, they have stock library music, they have graphics and templates for things like that. And I went in there recently and they've changed. I went in to look for images, specifically landscape images for Ireland for a client thing I'm working on. And it offered me the option to have its experimental AI generate the images instead. So I had a play. They're not bad. They do some things. You can type in, people in a workshop, you can type in, Irish mountains, and it'll give you something that looks a bit like Irish mountains, not real Irish mountains. But what really struck me was that for my subscription, I'm now faced with a choice of, essentially sort of feeding a photographer who's gone out into the wilds and taken a mountain picture of McKillicuddy's Reeks on a snowy morning with his tripod and his lens and whatever, and 30 years of craft. Or I can just go, nah, do you know what? Just give me the AI one. So it's kind of the choice was really stark to me. I hadn't seen it that way before. I know there's a lot of stuff about the Studio Ghibli thing at the moment. There's a lot, AI stealing creative styles from people, but that was the starkest ever. I've literally, my finger can go on a button going, I can have the photographer version, I can have the AI version, and I think a lot of people are going to be shopping, like you say, cancel my subscription to Midjourney because I've now got it with my Envato thing built in. Wow, okay. It's really such an emerging space, like from week to week to week.
Brilliant. Thanks, Alan. Now, Paul, finally.
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure I'm using the right microphone. I am. So I'm going to second what Cormac said at the beginning. You made that look so easy, and there was a lot jam-packed in there that I'm going to have to digest a little bit more with the recording after the fact. And I also second what Alan said of what is the differentiator if you give these tools to everyone? What is it that makes people different to is it everybody will have $7 billion valuation companies at the end of the day? What is it that makes people unique when everybody has these capabilities? And one of the things that I'm interested on, which is more on the sort of the process side of it, when you're generating the code and different things like that, you had mentioned that you could push that up to a GitHub repository and things like that. Have you experimented with ways of sort of streamlining that CI process from the AI tools to GitHub? So when you do product updates or things like that in the future, it is relatively streamlined and the manual process isn't as, there doesn't have to be as much of a manual process. Is that something you've looked at, Eric?
I haven't looked it up yet. No, I don't have anything deployed, so I do toy with a few things, but I haven't tried to streamline kind of production and but entirely possible with all those AI agents now. You could have them looking at even for testing. I'm talking to a company called Case who do kind of want to introduce AI testing for their products, and they do. It's a QA company, and they were looking, okay, with AI you could actually test your product a lot deeper, a lot quicker. You still need the human kind of creativity to go and find that back door that nobody thought of, or but you can certainly on robustness like do a lot more a lot quicker.
Sure. Yeah, overall super interesting stuff, and I'm looking forward to watching the recording and digesting it a little bit more.
Well,
yeah, it's really cool. Thank you.
Great, thanks for that, Paul. Eric, before we finish up on the topic, there's a lot of stuff in chat. A lot of the comments were from Martin because we know he's engaged and active on this. His final question is he'd love to see the report. Well, just to highlight to everybody here, the recording of the session will be on the portal next week, and sometimes we do a follow-up post. So we'll see whether there's something, a flavor or something that we can put in on the portal for people to look at after today. What do you think, Eric? Is that a sensible question, or is that just too awkward?
I will export all the content we've produced today and put it in a discussion on our platform, so people can actually go back and read the actual output, because I know I went really quickly on the output, but so I will export everything that I can anyway, or take screenshots and put it on our platform so you can go back to the chat. So I don't know, I'll do that now actually, or later on, but and then I'll create a thread there on our
okay,
on our
well
platform.
then before we finish up, a comment from me, not that you all need comments from me because the session was about AI and Eric's experience of it, but I thought it was amazing that what you can get done in 40 minutes with that bit of familiarity. I wouldn't play with 17 different tools. I'd be playing with one tool because I'm just slow. And one of the things I have is not a worry, but how do you optimize learning while somebody else is doing the work for you? And Eric, you've talked about that in the past, that this will change as well as the products themselves will change. The landscape and good practices and best practices will emerge over time. We're not there yet. Just keep your eyes peeled, I think is Alan's point. I often have something I've done 10, 15 years ago, and I'd be interested in the combination of, well, here's one I did 10 years ago, MacGyver-like. Now, what can you do with this? Well, that way, that's where maybe Copilot is the right product. We didn't address that today, and it's another example of how you can, start playing with AI. We didn't talk about multiple, really weird and wonderful use cases, and that would be another way of tackling or approaching AI as a subject. We will be back to this subject is what I'm getting at there.